everyone, welcome to another episode for War Commander for Beginners. In this episode we will talk about the defense, and this is a very big topic, so I'm gonna need more than one episode to explain all of this. In the first part, let's talk about the buildings, the defensive buildings in general. Now, there are a bunch of them, and I know a lot of them I already went over in the first episode, but it was a bit messy, so let's do it again. The number one will be the defense lab. Now, apart from everything that you can upgrade in defense lab, you also get a passive boost when your base is under attack. And like you can see, that passive boost is that your base defense tune, so the units in your defense, will take 20% less damage. Now that's a big advantage and is very useful clearly. Another building that gives the passive boost is the Go-Go bar, and as you can see, it's the defender damage, get 48% extra, it's a lot, and 50% defender repair. So you know, when you were under attack, your defender platoon has a lot of repair time, then you get 50% off, which is obviously amazing, although the attacker gets a bigger advantage, is 75%, but whatever. The next buildings are super important for your defense itself, for how strong is it gonna be and how long it's gonna last, which clearly are the towers, the big defense turrets, and the regular turrets. So you can decide which you want to use, but I would advise Lead Storm for the smaller ones. Towers, watchtowers, I use it because you get extra range. You know, some people also use the bunkers for extra damage against vehicles, but then the range is less. And the big turrets you can pick, you can, like a lot of people, they take hunters, and then also a lot of people take rail launchers, and then another part of the people, they combine it, they have like 2 rails and 2 hunters. It depends kind of what kind of defense you want. Now in the towers as well, you can put what you want. At the moment I would suggest have an anti-air in there, have a controller in there, and have some devouts. Of course it's gonna depend on the capacity, so also very useful. And those are the buildings that will have a lot of impact on your base defense. Now there's a third group of buildings that's also very useful, which are the silos, the rocket silos, the drone silos. Like, make sure they are always loaded and put a type of rocket in it. Like, don't forget to put a rocket in it, because sometimes they're empty. Same with the drone silos, make sure you've got drones in there. Again, you can choose, you want the yellow jackets, which will attack the ground, or do you want the hornets, which will attack air. Don't forget also you can put tech on it in the workshop, so don't forget that as well. And then you got the wires. They can be amazing and super useful. So most of the people will put their dragon teeth at the outskirts of their base, and they will put the barbed wire more in the closer encounter of the base, or they will put the barbed wire next to the dragon teeth. Now the reason why people do that is, if you go from if you attack from those 4 corners, then your tune pretty much immediately gets stuck, and that's super annoying. It helps a lot for the defense, and it makes the attacker panic, and that's what you want. When the attacker panics, they don't really know what's coming, then they will lose a lot of stuff, and they will have massive amounts of repair time. And that's always good for a giggle for the defender, so that's why people do that in general. When it's level 2, it actually damages over time. It's also very useful. Next up, also super useful, is the last stand. Now a lot of people forget that, but as you can see, Tech Center and Academy have last stand ability. In that last stand, you can put whatever units you want. The capacity is very low, but you can put what you want. And when those buildings get destroyed, then the units will rush out and attack. So make sure you got people in the last stand, because a lot of people forget it. Next up are buildings that are yet less useful, but still, you know, it can help, which are the trophies. Now, some trophies have animations, some don't, but in general, one, trophies cause lag for the attacker, which is always useful, and two, depending on the size, you can put units behind trophies, and a lot of people will do that, like not just units, like buildings and everything. And this again for the effect of surprise. You want the attacker to be surprised, you want the attacker to be panicking and make mistakes, and that's why it's useful behind trophies to put a lot of units. For example, like here, put 3 devoutes behind this trophy. No one knows, no one sees it. You know, if you spawn your units there, 1, they will be stuck with the dragon teeth, and 2, they will immediately get attacked by devoutes. So that's why trophies are super useful, and a lot of bases will be packed with trophies, and it's pretty much the only reason to get a trophy in event as well. So make sure you get those trophies, put them in your defense, hide towers, hide turrets, hide units, hide whatever you want with them. They're super useful. And another good advantage is that you can put those trophies, as you can see, everywhere in your base that you want. This is the entire field pretty much that I can put my trophies, and that's what makes them so good, so useful. So a last thing to talk about is the war production. The higher your war factory, airfield, and barracks get, the better the units you can put as war production. And as you can see, you know, I can already put Gen 2 in there, because I feel it's almost maxed. That's why. War production is a tilting point basically, especially for PvE. When you can put in war production, you're gonna have it a lot easier, and you will always be able to do the defense waves of the PvE part, especially when it's higher up level. It's super useful as well against the attacker. I believe like the barracks spawn a unit every 30 seconds, while the war factory and the airfield spawn units every 45 seconds. I'm not 100% sure about that. Should test that out. But yeah, it helps immense. It's amazing and it's very useful. Another building is the weapons lab. Mine is very bad, but I believe at level 5 you will get a missile defense tower or something like that, also called a bastion, and that building will prevent the attacker to be able to spam missiles, and that's very important, especially online defending, even offline. You don't want your base to pretty much just be missiled to death, and a lot of people will do that. They're gonna use the easy cowardly way. You know, I would do it myself as well. So that is actually very useful to have. So in conclusion, what you need to do is surprise the attacker, cause him a lot of repair time. That's basically everything you can do, because every base can be flattened, every base. It just depends on how much coins the attacker wants to spend and how much repair time he wants to have, you know, or how much repair time he's willing to have. Now basically just surprise the attacker, make him panic, put the placement of every building the way you want it, make sure everything is loaded and there's units in it, hide units, like, yeah, surprise the enemy, and he will panic and he will have a lot of repair time. So that's it for part 1 about defense. If you want to know about part 2, then you will have to wait a bit till it's done. But I can promise you it's gonna be interesting when you're a beginner, because that's what it's all about, War Commander for Beginners. Hope this was useful. Please like, please subscribe, and I see you guys next time.
Brother, it's caught in the crossfire. It's caught in the crossfire.